Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 3 of 3. We're finally wrapping up Drive to Survive. I'm in quarantine, which means no alcohol, just because I can't be asked to go and get any. I did get a new phone today, OnePlus 7 Pro, which I've made with a D-brand skin to look a bit McLaren-esque. Pretty smart. But anyway, episode 8 of Drive to Survive, 9 and 10 we're covering today. And apparently, episode 8, as far as I've heard, is a bit Nico Hulkenberg, bit emotional. We'll see, because I've cried in the last 2 episodes of this. So, will I cry today? Will it just be the alcohol? We'll soon find out. It's actually true what Cyril says. On paper, Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hulkenberg is a pretty dreamy driver lineup. Loads of experience. Yes, not much youth, but in terms of delivering results, 2 great drivers. And yes, I know Nico never got on the podium, but he still helped the team grow. He still delivers. He's still a very reliable, consistent driver. So we are at Montreal, at Canada, my favourite race on the calendar. And it was 6-1 Ricciardo in terms of qualifying by this stage. That's interesting. So Nico was closing the gap to Daniel, and then the old team orders came in, and Nico was not happy because he was closing the gap. As much as I appreciate Nico probably wasn't happy about being told not to race, 6th and 7th for Renault is as good as they can expect, and you got to think of the broader scheme of things, because at this stage the fight for 4th was very much on with McLaren, so they had to optimise points. It's interesting. Cyril's making a lot of noises at the start of this episode about loyalty to Nico, which obviously we know didn't really transpire, did it? Here we are, Paul Ricard. Most boring race, but the French race, which obviously was very important to Renault. Ricciardo, Norris, Raikkonen and Nico. Proper little battle that was, wasn't it? Right at the end. Look at him. I think, to be fair to Daniel, I don't think he would have gone for that move completely off track if it wasn't at the French home Grand Prix. I think he did that for the fans. I do feel for Cyril. He comes across as a very sound bloke, much better than Christian Horner. There's clearly a lot of pressure on him from the bosses up top. Here we are. This is the race I was looking forward to. Hockenheim, Renault. Oh, Nico, you came so close, mate. So close. Oh, interesting. So Ocon was actually meant to take the seat last year, but Danny became available, so it didn't happen. Mate, this is... You got Toto on the phone before the German Grand Prix in his little tyre with Esteban on the phone to Cyril. Let's have some dinner in full French. Fair play, Toto. Poor Nico. Poor Nico. They've kind of alluded that if Nico had got on the podium, Renault would have been a thing going forward. I wonder if that was in his contract. Maybe. Oh, yeah, of course. Danny Rick's engine blew, didn't it, Germany? So not only did Nico bin it, but 0 points on the board on a weekend where all the teams around him picked up big time. Nico, no! It happened. Oh, mate, I'm gutted for him. As much as I do believe that Ocon is very talented and very worthy of a position in F1, Toto definitely had a lot to do with that move. You can tell that for sure. But yeah, there you go. Episode 8 done. Let's go on to number 9. The tale of how Williams took the L. Because not only was their car awful in terms of performance, but it looked like a piece of crap as well. Terrible livery. Here we are, first view of Paddy Lowe, the man a lot of people feel was responsible. So they brought in Paddy from Mercedes, where he had so much success recently, and back in the day he used to be at Williams when he was younger. Very different era back then though, in the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, so this should get quite interesting because, of course, Williams missed testing. And literally Netflix were there following them round. So, yeesh. And this is part of the issue for Williams because they manufacture and produce every single part that goes on that car. It takes time to manufacture these things. And when you're not just buying it in and can just stick it straight in, it causes delays. I'd be interested to know if for this season they slightly maybe changed up their philosophy, because it's very admirable to make everything yourself, but if it means getting a car out in time, you got to prioritise, haven't you? Claire's come in for a lot of criticism. I rate her energy. I mean, that's all you can really do as a team principal beyond employing the right people. And obviously Paddy Lowe, on paper, was a great signing. Didn't turn out that well. But I think part of that is the Williams ethos. Like I said, making everything themselves kind of holds them back, unfortunately. And as good as her energy is and as positive as she is, it obviously worked against them. Oh, I've just witnessed the most awkward encounter in the world between Claire. Claire's just there. Paddy just walks over like, oh, hi, Claire. And she just airs him. Oh, frequent flyer miles. Cash them in, Paddy Lowe. Here we are. Williams finally out on track. Time to set the leaderboards alight, guys. Oh, not really. And there we go. Paddy's out of there. Claire had to crack the whip. And to be fair to her, yes, it was too late, but she did do it. I don't know, the vibe I got from him that he just seemed to be really out of his depth, which you wouldn't expect for someone who's had so much success recently at Mercedes. But Georgie boy arrives in a very, very smart Mercedes. It's not a bad life, is it, mate? It's not a bad life. Oh, I just saw George with Papa Latifi, a little prerequisite of our Nicholas getting the seat, isn't it? Yeah, at Silverstone. And here we are, Silverstone. See if we can see me in the crowd. Yes, I went to this race. I know I've mentioned it about 10 billion times. All right, shut up. Thing is, I think people have criticised George for coming across as a bit, he's a rookie coming into his first season. Is he in a position to moan? I think he is. I think you need a driver who's going to push everyone. And again, it's about doing it in the right way. It's not throwing your toys out the pram and being a little bitch about it. It's about actually look, this isn't good enough. And there we have it. Episode 9 done. Williams canned. One more to go. We're starting with Gasly's return to Toro Rosso, which again, like I've already said, I feel was the right move. He needed that confidence return, that confidence boost. And I do genuinely believe that the loss of his best mate, the loss of Antoine Hubert, that reality check as such that you get when something like that happens in your life and resetting your perspective, I think it helped. I think it helped Gasly's performances. I really do. Oh, and back to the boy Alex and that Aston Martin. Whew, what a motor. And he's finally moved out. The boy has moved out of home. And where's he moved to? Of course, the tax haven. That is Monaco. What a life, man. Oh, Alex, I'm so proud of him. I feel like I've known this kid. I feel like he's my nephew. I feel so proud of what he achieved and what he did last year. And I just, fingers crossed, he delivers again this season. Whenever this season decides to start, that is. Franz Tost raises a good point here. So we're at Interlagos, the race where Gasly and Albon had quite eventful races, didn't they? And it's a fair point that Tost raises that drivers have to take L's. Not just drivers. You have to take L's in life to learn from them and grow from them. Gasly's was the demotion, was, losing his best mate. Adversity in life, I feel, makes you. And the same point, in the same tone with Alex getting punted by Lewis at Interlagos, at the time, heartbreaking. But in the long term, it's the kind of thing that could make him as a driver. What I like about this whole documentary is you get to see the real interactions between team bosses and racers and that, because a lot of the time it is actually quite awkward. They don't actually know each other that well, if you know what I mean. You see Carlos and Lando getting along really well, and you see certain relationships that are clearly very natural, but then you also see a lot that really aren't. So Carlos and Zach just then a little bit of banter, which kind of went a bit flat. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. Interlagos, what a race. I think, obviously Germany was an amazing entertainment spectacle, but Interlagos was up there for races last year. Albon's move on Seb, different gravy. Carlos's move on Sergio, though, was also a little banger, wasn't it? A little banger. Oh, here we go. Ferrari battle. It was a great move by Charles into the first corner. That was a quality move. And then it all went wrong. For anyone to suggest this was not Seb's fault, to me, is just stupidity. It was clearly Sebastian who squeezed into Charles. He drove into him. Squeezed. What's all that? He drove into him. So, safety car. Check out my last video, by the way. All about the safety cars in Formula 1. We're about to see Alex get punted by Lewis. I don't think I can watch this. I think I'm going to cry again. Oh, Alex's mum is having absolute kittens. Oh, no. Oh. No. Made even worse because where he spun, he couldn't get back in the action. My boy, Alex. Oh, bless him. But yet, as Alex takes the biggest of L's, Pierre Gasly. Lewis, oh, what a shot. Lewis could not catch him. Go, Pierre. Yes, son. Get in. Pierre Gasly, P2, thoroughly deserved. Good for him, man. Good for him. And then Carlos, P4, became P3. As gutted as I am about Albon, that day couldn't have gone much better, could it, really? Oh, for crying out loud, Pierre. Obviously, talking about Antoine. What a crazy year for him. What a crazy year. Gets the Red Bull seat, loses the Red Bull seat, loses his best mate, P2 at Interlagos. All wrapped into 10 months. And here we are. Carlos waiting to find out if he got onto the podium. This is the most awkward moment of my career. It was pretty awkward, wasn't it? All the Spanish media waiting, salivating. Vamos! Good for Carlos, man. Again, thoroughly deserved. All in all, quite a positive day. And Max won the race that we forget to mention. How he dominated. The story is with Gasly and Sainz and Albon too. And there we are, rounding out episode 10 at Mercedes. The winners, Lewis Hamilton, 6 times world champion. And there we have it. End of the 2019 season. I'll be interested to see when we get Drive to Survive next season, how they cover the start of the season, which is non-existent as it seems. So, yeah, I've very much enjoyed it. What are my overall thoughts and feelings? I think Drive to Survive has delivered. I have not been disappointed. I know a lot of people have said they've been disappointed with the lack of coverage of certain drivers, but you got to understand they're not recording every single team at every single race weekend, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they cut, and I'm sure that, they got kind of lucky. Obviously, they were going to follow Mercedes at Germany, for example, where everything went Pete Tong. But yeah, I just like whether they'll throw more resource at it this year, so they're covering more of the team, more of the weekends, so they can capture more of the action. Maybe, because as far as I can see, the series has been a very well-received success generally, and has brought a lot of new fans on board. If you're one of those fans who've been brought on board by Drive to Survive, then welcome to the family. So there we have it. If you've watched all 3 of these, thank you very much for taking the time. This has been fun. I'm going to watch these anyway, so I figured if I just record my reaction, cut it up, make it into nice little videos, we can enjoy, share it all along. You guys who've watched it already can relive it. My name's been Tommo. This is the Tommo F1 YouTube channel. Please drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new and you want to see more content kind of like this. Just F1 related generally. I'm trying to pump out as much as I can at the minute because, of course, there's no racing. So, I need to keep myself busy at weekends while we're all, stuck at home and can't go anywhere and can't do anything. But yeah, I've got plenty of ideas. And as always, please let me know down in the comments below what you think, what you'd like to see. And I will do my best to reply to every single one of you. So thanks again, Have a good one.